Jerry's solos had this unmistakable, like, sweetness to them, a singing quality that made every note just kind of feel right. But it wasn't just his unique feel or his phrasing, there was a secret sauce to his sound. So in this video, I'm going to break down what he did and how you can use it to bring that same flavor into your own solos. But first, let's give a listen to it in action. The starting point for Jerry's sweetness comes from the major pentatonic. Although if you tried using the scale, you've probably noticed that there's something missing. It can sound too predictable after a while, So let's first take a look at it here. So it's going right around this shape right here. If you think about the cage system, it's this G shape like this, right? Move it up here. Here's your C, right? And here it is again. This is the most popular scale and position on guitar by far. So that is, your good starting point. And if you're playing, around something that is in C, you can just use a scale, and that's really, all you need. Even though it's the most common, doesn't mean that it's like, oh, it's too easy or you got to do something fancier. That is like plenty to get you going. And if you're, you're in, say, something like D, you just move it up 2 frets. Right? And that works there, And if you're into Jerry's approach to soloing, you'll love the Jerry Garcia 5-Day Challenge. It's free and it helps you apply his tactics so you can develop your own sound. Just check out the link down below. So the key is in how Jerry mixed up this scale with something else to spice it up. So let's first look at the relative minor pentatonic. So that would be A minor, right? So just taking the exact same thing, but thinking about where these A's are right here, right? And about if you were playing over an A minor chord like this would be the pentatonic that would work right there, right? It kind of matches right up, but it's the same notes. That's why it's called relative. So it's the relative minor for C is A minor. The relative major for A minor is C. They're interchangeable. It's the same notes. It just depends on what you're focusing on. Which notes, either the C's or the A's. And if you're playing, or someone else is playing, an A minor and you're jamming with them and you're like, I'm going to use a C major pentatonic, no matter how you play it, it's going to sound like A minor pentatonic. And then vice versa. If somebody's playing a C and you're trying to play A minor pentatonic, it'll sound like C major pentatonic because it's the same thing. Now, if we take it one step further and we play this minor pentatonic, but we add this note here, that is what they call the blue note. So now it becomes the blue scale. It's just the minor pentatonic with that blue note added in there. Some people think of it as a sharp 4. I like to think of it as a flat 5. So whatever, it's the note, between those two. And it instantly, there it is again, makes things sound kind of more bluesy and stuff. So one of the big things of Jerry's playing is he always had contrast, and a very common way he would get that is through tension and release. And his secret kind of sauce had a certain spice to it that causes this tension, and it's the blue note that we just looked at. And if you take it right and think of it as that relative major, so you have the same exact thing, but now think about the C's as our root note, that home note where everything kind of wants to go back to. It becomes what a lot of people call is the major blues scale. And there's other names for it too, And it's the same note, same thing, but you can think of it as a minor third. You can think of it as like a major blue note, but here you're going up C, here's your major third, there's your minor third. And that's all it is. You just add that in there. And it makes it sound so much, kind of spicier, it just kind of combines this sweetness and bluesiness just perfectly and making it like a key ingredient in Jerry's solos. It's a careful dance, between this tension and release. But there's a certain way Jerry often approached the scale that makes it even easier to make it sound good. And we've only scratched the surface of Jerry's soloing, but if you want to go deeper, again, that 5-day challenge is going to help you get there. It's all about helping you apply these ideas to make them your own. So just check out the link down below to get started. So once you are comfortable with the scale in one position, you want to try it diagonally across the neck like this. So we're moving away from this shape here and now going around this E shape right here and starting here and taking this spot where you'd be playing it right here, right? But then playing it like this and just taking, these key spots between 3 different positions. So you go diagonally across and it's all, for the most part, your first and third fingers. Sometimes you might be up here like this with that finger, but for the most part it's first and third, and that makes it much easier, much stronger fingers, and it's just this pattern of all 2 frets except for the one spot here because of the difference in tuning of these strings. It makes it really easy for bending and sliding and stuff. And then just adding that kind of major blue note, however you want to think of it, at the minor third, like this. And then an example from like earlier, I wasn't even playing this note here. I was playing it, but not playing the actual fret. I was bending to it, giving it that real sweet sound. That kind of bending that, I think he takes it even another step further of adding that little tension. But if you kind of like resolve that little lick to the root, just that makes that release. So you get the tension, release. Or what about this? What tune is that? But it's a clear intro lick using this exact thing, giving it that a perfect sound for this example and stuff. But the real test is applying Jerry's approach in different keys and in different positions. So that was just like, a little example over, He's Gone, just kind of jamming it out at the end of the tune. And that is an E, right? So now think about it like this. If you have E in this A shape, you take A, boom, move it up there. Here is E in that A shape, here's your E. And now thinking about the pentatonic right here. But then moving it diagonally across. And now adding in that minor third. Right? And that gives you that kind of Jerry-ish sound just so easily once you get the stuff on your fingers. And those 2 positions cover a lot of ground. You've got, the root over here on the 6th string, and then this one over here, the root on the A string, and you just move it around to wherever you want to do it. If you want to do it for C, move it down here. So on and stuff. And then get it all the way up there. It covers so much territory on the fretboard and stuff. So these are things that will really, really spice up your solos. It's once you get it down, it's so easy. And adding just one extra note to a scale can make a solo so much sweeter, as you've heard. But if you only focus on using one scale, there's a risk of sounding like noodling. So check out this video here where I show you this one lesson that completely changed how I view improvising and how it got me to finally stop noodling.